And I think in order to understand that, we have to first understand that Iran, while I mentioned they've been around in Latin America for 40 years, their biggest period of growth happened at the turn of the century, from 2000 to 2010, the first decade, because during that period, they pegged themselves to a political phenomenon in Latin America, which was called the pink tide. It was essentially a wave of populist, socialist, and later authoritarian leaders in Latin America that dominated the region for over a decade. They lost some steam in the second decade, but they're actually resurging right now, which we've seen in elections in Peru, Chile, Honduras, and elsewhere. And this pink tide brought people like, obviously, when Hugo Chavez was the first in 1999, right before the turn of the century, but it brought people like Evo Morales in Bolivia, Daniel Ortega, the second time into power in Nicaragua, Rafael Correa in Ecuador, the Kirchners in Argentina, Lula da Silva, and then Dilma Rousseff in the PT in Brazil, Sanchez Serén in El Salvador, and eventually led to López Obrador becoming the president in Mexico. And what Iran did is they pegged themselves to the core element of the pink tide, which was an alliance called the Bolivarian Alliance, or ALBA as its name in its acronym. And Iran was an observing member of ALBA since the very early days and continues to this day. And because of that, Iran has invested into the Bolivarian states, which are namely Cuba, Nicaragua, Venezuela, and Bolivia, and has allowed themselves to grow, or enables themselves to grow their influence in Latin America, as long as these regimes, autocratic regimes, grow their power and presence in the region. So in that, if you understand that their ambitions in Latin America are intricately tied to this Bolivarian alliance, these Bolivarian states in Latin America, like Venezuela, Cuba, Nicaragua, and Bolivia, then you have to say that their endgame is essentially the same endgame of Venezuela or the same endgame of Bolivia. And what that endgame is to turn Latin Americans against the United States. That's fundamentally there. Beyond the terrorism and the missiles and whatever else that they can achieve in the process, it's essentially they want to turn a region that historically has been very hospitable to the United States, given we're one of the largest trade partners in the region. We've had many demographic, cultural, even religious ties to Latin America over time. They want to turn it inhospitable to Americans and into the United States as a whole. And part of their biggest weapon, one of their most potent weapons to do this, is through disinformation. And I think that's largely ignored when we talk about Iran's presence in Latin America or in just globally in general, is how much better Iran has gotten at very sophisticated disinformation campaigns that they're doing worldwide. One of the biggest examples, I think, is Soleimani, is the death of the Quds Force General Soleimani. And this is a quote taken from the Ayatollah Khamenei about what that means for them now and how they're exploiting that for their strategic ends. Where he was quoted in a tweet saying that Soleimani the martyr is more dangerous to the United States, Israel, and the West than Soleimani the general. And I think that they really believe that. And we're seeing evidence of this in Latin America, where Soleimani is essentially being promoted as a sort of Iranian Che Guevara that was fighting against terrorism, crime, and injustices around the world. This gets intensified every year on the anniversary of Soleimani's death, every January 3rd. It was, just happened a little less than a month ago. But it's part of a very robust effort of using soft power and sharp power to essentially shift the orbit along with its partners in Latin America, where Latin Americans essentially start to believe this false narrative that Soleimani is somewhat a hero for peace. And I think that while may seem a little bit far-fetched for some, should not be underestimated, because I think that that's one of their most potent weapons in all of it that they're doing.